Robert. Hey, welcome back to the Decentralized Me podcast. Again, great to see you again.
Hey, Matt. Thanks.
All right, a ton of industry news as of late, and just want to take an opportunity for us to sit down, talk about it, get your perspective on what some of those things are. One of the big topics in the AI space over the last, I'd say, 45 days has been something called model context protocol, right? And I know you've posted about it a few times on X, as have I, and just wanted to take a second from your perspective. What is model context protocol, and how does it work in very simple terms?
Yeah, so the MCP protocol is a new protocol that just released by Anthropic last November. And it's just a few months after it released, and it's already get a lot of people interested in this. When I first see this protocol, I found it is quite unique because it's very simple, but the potential is huge. In simple MCP protocol, what Anthropic explained say that it's like a USB-C connector to the AI. You can connect a different type of things into this AI. For example, we all know that USB-C connector is like universal, right? You can use USB-C to, power your phone. You can use that to plug in an earphone, plug in a microphone, plug in camera. Basically, you can potentially with that one simple interface, you can plug in anything, right? So Anthropic use a USB-C as an analogy to the MPC protocol, is basically trying to define a standard interface so you can feed anything into the AI models. So the MCP protocol was evolved. It's I think this is like a whole upgrade from the older protocols in the past. Like I think 2 years ago, OpenAI first released this OpenAI extensions, so you can build extensions to help OpenAI. But I think that protocol is actually very similar to the MCP. The major difference is that is OpenAI's. You can only build something that works with OpenAI, and so it's kind of like a closed protocol. But MCP itself does not tie to any model and any company, and do not need approval. It's kind of like a open protocol and also permissionless, right? Anybody who can build their software, as long as they come from this protocol, it can be consumed by any other application that support this protocol. For example, what we are doing right now is we're supporting MCP protocol in the AIGNE. And so people familiar with ArcBlock knows that AIGNE is a no-code AI framework, and users, developer, builders without coding skills, they can use AIGNE to create applications. But like any no-code tools, you're going to have some limitations if you are if you don't write code, your capability only limited to what the no-code environment bring to you. To break this kind of a wall of the no-code limitations, you need to be able to tap into many other. But now MCP, I think this is opening up a lot of opportunities. So by adding support to the MCP, that basically means the agent's capability is like 10x or 100x extended if you know what to plug in, right?
Would I be saying this correctly? Is MCP gives you a common interface to access external systems or tools or data sets, but two is it also addresses kind of a community problem where rather than having to build all the tools, we can go and actually access existing tools. Is that a right way to say it back?
Yes. So so the MCP is a simple protocol, so that makes people easier to build stuff. Right? It says if a protocol is very complex, that basically means you have to invest a lot of time to build it. The MCP protocol itself is relatively very simple, and so that basically means more people can build it. And also, the more important is open and nobody control it. You don't need permission to build it. You don't need permission to build. You don't need permission to use. It's an open protocol. It's just like the internet, right? It's I see MCP protocol just like a HTTP protocol for the internet, right? MCP protocol is like the HTTP protocol for AIs, and so that's going to be huge.
How do you, so I guess one of the examples I would use is if I wanted to, with using like an MCP server as an example, like if I wanted to connect agent to X to control, to write my posts, for example, right? Or interact with a post. Is that something I could do by simply connecting agent to a Twitter, or I should say X MCP server?
Yes. So with MCP support, you can use agent to connect into a lot of things with different MCP servers to post data to, like from Twitter, Slack, Discord, Instagram, anything, right? So in the past, you're going to have to select different tools, or either if the ecosystem does not have these tools, you have to build it by yourself or waiting somebody build for you. But now there's a ecosystem. There's a lot of people have a lot more intention to willing to build different tools. For example, right now you can find MCP servers that connect to the Google Drive. You can read it. You can authorize your agent to read the data from your Google Drive, like a spreadsheet. It's basically the potential scenarios are limitless.
Do you feel this will change how developers are building like AI apps and services? So by having kind of instant access to services like Stripe or again X, does this really kind of change how we develop things? Or for ArcBlock, is it actually in some ways a similar way because it's really just adding more components onto our apps and services?
I think the apps. I think this is so the MCP support is a really natural way to integrate within the ArcBlock, and because ArcBlock is all about composable application platform. So the MCP, you can imagine MCP is a protocol to make the AI applications easier to be composable. We just adopt the MCP protocol within the whole blocklet ecosystem. That basically means any blocklet that is talking to the agent is through the MCP protocol. And this brings us a lot of advantage. First of all is agent. When agent need a intensible module, it could be a blocklet or could be a MCP server because it doesn't matter because they speak the exact same language, right? It's not like two language you have to switch over. Should I use a blocklet or should I use an external MCP server? But now they're the same. For the agent, they're exactly the same. I think the second advantage is any of the blocklet, now since you speak MCP, it can be plugged for any third-party ecosystem. Because for the third party, they now see every blocklet as an MCP server. The second is ArcBlocks. We're going to expose a lot of blockchain and crypto-related features as MCP features. And that basically means any AIs, not necessarily just with agent. You can use any framework who support MCP. You can tap into the blockchain crypto through the ArcBlocks blocklet ecosystem. I think this is like a perfect protocol. So we actually, ArcBlock is an open platform, so we always adapt the external or public protocols. For example, one famous one is the DID, right? DID, we are a big player in the DID, but we didn't invent DID, right? We invent DID together with the community of the people who believe in this DID. But ArcBlock, we make the DID as our core protocol. So every system, every blockchain system, every cloud computing system, they have to have an ID system. Usually, most of people, when they design the system, they use their own protocol or own standard for their own ID. And then when they want to support the other ID system, usually they have this adapter or converter to converting their ID and mapping them into the external ID, so they support the other ID protocol. But in ArcBlock, we did that in a very kind of a elegant way. So we're going to apply this to MCP, that basically anything that is talking to the AI, we're going to just use the MCP protocol. We can see the MCP is kind of warming up. A lot of good AI products like a Cursor, Windsurf, and many of them supported MCP. And a bunch of other companies, and who, especially for those companies who was designed to supporting this kind of, to use features for the AIs. Like one is a Composite, I think it's called Composite. Yesterday, they just announced that they're going to have this ready-to-use MCP servers. You just one click, you can use it without worry about deployment and installations. And they just released a service with hundreds of MCPs you can out of box to use. And so the whole ecosystem looks like very alive. I see this is way much better than when OpenAI released their OpenAI plugin support.
Yeah, it feels as if MCP is, as you said, really warming up, and a lot of people are quickly adopting it. Do you know, related to decentralized identity and all of ArcBlock's work, is it possible to create, for example, a DID MCP server plugin to allow people to benefit both from MCP and also from DID?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So because MCP and DID, they are focused on different area, and they can work perfectly together. So one example is ArcBlock, right? ArcBlock, we have everything is DID, and now we're adopting the MCP protocols into it, and so they works well because they are addressing different problems. There's no conflict here, and exposing some of these kind of a DID related features to as a MCP. For example, the DID, there's a DID resolvers, or using DID to sending some to the verifiable credentials verifications. It can through the MCP. So now, after we officially release a new agent with a full MCP support, and we are going to update those demos, and so the user can feel almost the same user experience, but the layer was driven by the MCP protocol. And yeah, this is coming soon. So we have worked for this for a few months now, and it's going to be a huge update for AIGNE, right? So I think without MCP, AIGNE is a great, easy to use AI node code tools for a small group of people who don't want to write code to create AI applications, and also want to focus on the decentralization, DApps, and but with the MCP support, I think the AIGNE itself is going to tap into the core community of the AI application development, right? One thing we haven't officially announced yet is basically to AIGNE as a no-code is a no-code tool. Is basically people reference that as the AIGNE Studio. When we release with the AIGNE Studio, you use the Studio to have a no-code tool to build applications. But what's actually behind the AIGNE Studio is a strong framework. So internally, we call this AIGNE framework. So AIGNE framework is a core to drive the AIGNE no-code studio to work, right? So we are planning to open source AIGNE framework. So that is a part of the release, so the whole inspired by the MCP and the whole AI industry. So this is going to be huge. And so this is basically the AIGNE is going to grow from a no-code engine to a tool with an engine with code or without code. So basically unified. So because AIGNE itself is an AI apps engine, right? So it doesn't matter you write code or does not write code, and it's just to build the extremely powerful AI application. That's our goal.
Yeah, stay tuned. That sounds like an awesome update. I know I can't wait. In the news over the last 30 days, we've seen a range of updates from OpenAI, Anthropic, X with the new Grok. What do you see as the impact of these new models, right?
Yeah, so model companies, the competition is very strong. And you also remember that DeepSeek from China. And so there is so many more and more powerful models coming out, and so their capability is really amazing. I think AI is bigger than most of the news have said. So especially the past 6 months or a year, the model's capability is just growing exceptionally well in a lot of things. Right, so the AI model is not just for answering questions like ChatGPT. So now AI model writes perfect code, and it's not perfect for every aspect yet, but it is perfect for some part of it, and it's probably in some certain area. And also the AI is we all know that AI is very good at creating pictures, creating images. But now recently the AI also developed the great skills of building the user interface. Right, so it's building a mobile app, building a website, design a mobile app, design a website. The AI just to create something that is exceptionally well, just like a professional software designers. So right now we are all into it. I think this is actually, we have this strategy since last year, right? Since last year we have this kind of we adjust a lot of things from our organization, how it works, how to manage our tasks. Is all try to kind of boost up with this kind of AI, revolution in the upcoming few months or years.
AI is going to be amazing. On a different note, kind of want to change topics there for a minute. You mentioned recently in an X post that the base chain experience, right, is essentially Ethereum done right. I'm curious, what kind of drove that comment? Like, what do you see in base that they're doing that's interesting, is great for ArcBlock? How would you describe that?
Yes, people who know me and know ArcBlock know that we are basically like a hate and love relationship with Ethereum. And as a lot of people know the story, when we were beginning, we really want to be focus on the application layers and to address the problem that Ethereum does not address. And we want to have the whole blockchain built on Ethereum, right? So myself and we're big believer of the Ethereum's vision. However, like in the last few years, Ethereum's development they're definitely doing a lot of great jobs and a lot of development, but they are not as we expected. Especially recently, a lot of people blame on Ethereum. I think the recent announcement from the base, even the base is the layer 2, is not kind of like an apple to apple compare with Ethereum, and also base itself is the ecosystem of the Ethereum as a layer 2. But I think what I see base is doing extremely good is base is very much compatible with Ethereum. And the base promised that they're not going to issue a new token, but instead they're just use Ethereum ETH as their gas token. So that basically means if you are building an application for Ethereum, you are essentially also building for base. It's just connecting to the different endpoint and everything else from the smart contract, from the program language, from the whole architect, you're basically the same for the Ethereum. But you get a way much faster performance from the base, and you get the way less cost and much more predictable cost from using the base chain, right?
So I know from Base there was an announcement on Base's new app chains in the last week. Do you feel going forward, kind of based on what you're describing, and I think I know the answer already, but do you feel that there will be more opportunities for ArcBlock developers because of the growth of Base? Like Base is basically opening new doors for ArcBlock developers to do more with their apps.
Yes, I think with the base chain itself, ArcBlock developers already get the benefit that you can use now. In the past, you have Ethereum, you have many other blockchains, but now there's a Base, and so it's cheaper and faster. And by the way, ArcBlock's payment kit already fully supported Base chain with a great experience, and it used to work with Ethereum and other EVM blockchains, and the future is there for a long time, but we don't see a lot of people using them, because if you're using Ethereum for the payment, compared to using ArcBlock's ABT blockchain, it's basically like one thing, one kind of a method is like a snap. Everything's done, right? Within second, it's done. Versus something that you have to say, hey, you need to wait, and we need to wait block by block, and sometimes lucky for a few minutes, and unlucky it takes like very long time. The experience is like completely different. Now the payment key fully support base chain. You can use base chain to pay Ethereum, any ERC20, and just like a snap. So that is good. The app chain is something Base just announced. The app chain concept is very similar to one of the concepts that ArcBlock tried to promote in the early days. Is like we used to have a Forge framework that you can create a blockchain by one command line. And at the time, not just ArcBlock, there's several other blockchain technologies like Polkadot, like Cosmos, or promoting this concept that you have many different blockchains, but they're talking with each others, and each of the application can have their own blockchain. So that definitely solved the performance issues. So overall speaking, I think for many of those applications, they don't really need a blockchain that is, tightly bound to the application itself, because application usually need a high performance, need to be, the blockchain itself is not really built for super high performance. So I think the app chain does has some of the scenarios. For example, if you want to build a game, like especially some kind of multi-personal game that needs really this kind of fairness. I don't know what is that, but I think gambling or this kind of game that involved with the money exchange, and usually people really need them to be looked at peer as a fair. And another type of the games that is related to the NFT non-fungible tokens. In the past, non-fungible tokens are just pictures, and it is slow. It does not need the blockchain to be high performance. But if you really take the real use of the non-fungible tokens, for example, as a game's asset or as this something in the games, you need a blockchain that can be able to issue a lot of high quality, high performance, non-fungible token that can actually use it in the games. Imagine if you're building like a Lego world or like Minecraft. Imagine each of your box bricks, the stuff you're building are non-fungible tokens, right? So then you're going to potentially need thousands or even tens of thousands, even millions of those objects that is created by the users, and you need to track them. In Ethereum, it's basically like unthinkable, right? You are not able to build this into real applications with that. In this case, I think the app chain probably makes a lot of sense. However, if somebody bring up this high performance application chains, so what it can brings is change the game, because now there all those limitations gone, and potentially people can think with this kind of infrastructure, we can really put the NFTs or in a real good use, in a really fun applications. Remember that in 2018 we helped one of the company in our ecosystem. I think they're called Gravity Games. They want to build these sandbox games, and I think this vision is really good. And so they really want to make this world on the blockchain. And at the time, they evaluated all kind of different blockchains, and they considered ArcBlock because we are the only blockchain that have this vision to have this high performance and also put the non-fungible token in the real use. However, they're just like a lot of pioneers. They didn't be able to kind of make this vision into a reality. And I'm looking forward, for example, after base chain release the app chain, that could be born a lot of new opportunities to build great applications.
Or another bit of big news that happened a couple of weeks ago, and no need to go into the specifics or kind of the technical details, but I did want to ask, like from your perspective, what does ArcBlock learn from the recent Bybit hack, right? And more importantly, as a leading ecosystem in Web3, right? Like maybe you could tell us like one or two of the things that we're doing to improve security and reliability of our systems as we support our builders.
Yeah, that's a quite unfortunately incident that happened to the industry, and especially when I because in the beginning everybody is thinking that the centralized exchange might and does not take care of the asset well, but eventually the result is like shocking, is because it's from the hacking from the safe wallet, right? So this name is safe, but it's get hacked by the attackers. That is, they basically planted the malware into the safe wallet's web front end. The blockchain is not broken, but the front end is broken, and that eventually lead to the largest kind of hacking in the human history in finance, right? Not just blockchain, is in finance. That's a very unfortunate thing, and I think the security and that's always a problem, and that is always like the security is always like number one important thing for any company that's include ArcBlock, right? Nobody can guarantee, but it's always like mice are everywhere, but we need to be the alerted cat and need to be catch the mouse. And before they make any damage, and they always stay in the dark and try to attack. And so as our block, and I think one thing I really want to highlight is people might not notice, but we're constantly improving our security support in our platform and in our product, and in our Bugs Bounty program. I'm really thankful for a lot of those Bugs Bounties participants. So a lot of them are actually in the last couple months. They are mostly focused on the security holes. Some of them are minor issues that could, some of them are really, very good, serious issues that they have identified and we fixed. And so this is kind of continually happening. I believe continue happening in the coming months or years. And in our so right now, for example, in our Blocklet platform and the Blocklet servers, we already have a few of those kind of building security measures into it, right? So, for example, in the latest Blocklet servers, we have internally building the application firewalls. So that's called a WAF, web application firewalls, right? So usually in the Amazon or in other system, you have to pay for additional service like a WAF, or you have to buy some software to install that WAF into your applications to prevent him from hacking. But in the ArcBlock's Blocklet platform, everything is building, right? So we have this WAF, and we have those of already building. We are able to build this because we constantly get attacked by people. People are trying to scam our system. So some of those scams probably expose some of the potential risks. But most of the scams, even though it does not break into the system, but it's a reduced. It costs you resource, costs you money, and so while we defending ourselves, we make all those kind of defending mechanism to the Blocklet server, to the block service. That basically means anybody who build Blocklets, they automatically have those kind of capabilities. So we're constantly kind of tightening our system, to defending from the hacking, and we also improved, for example, our wallet. For example, for the Bybit, one of the root reason for the Bybit is because safe multi-sig wallet was compromised by the hackers. But the secondary problem contribute to this is because when Bybit people sign with this multi-sig And so they use this something called a blind signing, which is basically the signer does not know what exactly the message they're signing to, because it's all shows some kind of binary or some kind of a human not readable information, because they don't know what they're signing to. The attackers get the chance to actually cheat it with some kind of bad message to sign. So that's caused a problem. That's a second. I think that's a secondary contributed to these disasters. And since we have DID wallet product, so we already dealing with this kind of blind sign from very early on. But we are just kind of getting this more tightened to ensure that the DID wallet, whenever you try to sign those kind of transactions, first of all, it's always try to kind of decode and try to display and warn user what you're going to sign into, right? The second is by default is going to not allow you to just assign to something that you don't understand. So this is the part that we improved our DID wallet to help our users who ever use DID wallet to avoid making those mistakes, right? And the third is we think the AI could be very helpful for this, and we are actually using the AIGNE. And in the future updates of the DID wallet, you can optionally use the AIGNE to create this kind of a AI-based kind of safeguard for you whenever you want to sign into any transactions. We can use the AI to help you to review some of the transaction, or review what's the potential happen before you make any kind of actions. So this is kind of like add additional layers for the security. So whenever you do something, AI could help you to guide you through and warn you if something is not sounds right. So I think there's a lot of things to learn and a lot of things and to improve on the security. I think security is always a matter that every company, especially in our industry, should always look into it and never be too kind of over self-confident that so even though we haven't have any security issue, I always say yet is kind of a warning to if we do not really take care of everything, that thing could happen. But if we keep alerted, stay alert, stay always kind of improving, getting up the holes here, remove those holes, remove this problem, every small steps, and then the security going to be way much longer, right? So and also I think this is for people who do not understand the computer security. I think it's important to understand that in this kind of a evolving world, nobody can guarantee they're secured, and for most of the people who brag in, say that, oh, we're super secure, we never have any problem. Usually this is very risk. This is a very big sign of risk, right? So to be able to secure, you need to be modest and also always be alert. And there's no guarantee. But there is important thing is security is also measured by time, right? So, for example, Bitcoin can be, say, this is the most secured blockchain. It's not because the code or not because it's just because of time. Bitcoin has survived at the time. It is secure, right? So Ethereum is kind of a secure because Ethereum has been hacked so many times. Most of those hacks are because they're flaw of the design. But Ethereum still survived, and the Ethereum survived so many hacks and survived. So that basically means it survived over the time, even though it's proved has been attacked and holes everywhere. It's just like airplane. It has so many holes after the battle, and everything is broken, but it's landed safe so far. So that's really good, right? So ArcBlock, we have survived over time. We have survived from 17 to here. We have survived, but that does not guarantee that you don't have any issues in the future. But surviving over the time is usually a good evidence and to prove that. I think the ArcBlock as an application platform, I think preventing hacking from the application layer and protecting the asset not only from the end user but also from the application service providers is that's also critically important. And so that's why we always want to tighten the system from many different levels, right? And I think another good benefit for ArcBlock platform is ArcBlock is a completely decentralized platform. The decentralization is I think that's a nature good way to preventing from hacking. Because imagine, for example, even there's a same flaw, same problem in a decentralized system. When hacker want to attack that, even the loophole is exactly the same. The hacker has to attack, thousands or tens of thousands of infrastructures to hack one by one and to steal all the fund. And for a community, probably somebody become the victim of the hacker. But it really takes time for the hackers attacking the so many infrastructures, and then the community can already find something's wrong and then begin to defend. However, for a centralized system, it looks like the centralized system, they might tighten it well, but once it's broken and everything is gone immediately, that immediately affect like tens of thousands of users. So that's kind of also the security system, like it's centralized versus decentralized, right? I think that's an interesting topic. It's definitely worth to talk for a long time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing again and kind of running through some of the updates. I know I'm excited for MCP and for AIGNE and hopefully coming soon, but my fingers crossed on that, but hopefully coming soon. But thanks for sharing, Robert. Look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, thanks for anybody who listening. And I think ArcBlock team are working around the clock over past a few months, and it's just there's a lot of things in the industry are changing, and we are adapting those changes, and we are also making moves and making change in the product. It sometimes takes time. I always think like good things take time, and time is something that is really worth to wait and to wait the good happen. I think it's
Right.
coming.